Should I start?
Yes, sir.
Just enable the screen sharing and yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So I was discussing about its effect on environment. So here you can see it, the satellite image of European skies, how it has decreased. So it was from top one is from 2019 image and down one is 2020 image. So you can see it from this, it is very clear. So which shows that NO2 level has decreased. So that's a good sign. Similarly, this is for European sky. Similarly, you can see it for India. So for India also, this the top one is from last year's for last year's image. It is during March and April 2019, and down one is from this year's during lockdown image. It is from March April 2020, and here also it has become a little more clear. So which shows the NO2 level has decreased. So that's again a good sign. Other than that, also I'll just talk about like how the production sector has decreased. So here one example, like in it shows Chinese industrial production. So it has decreased. You can see it uh, uh, after like after this COVID cases was reported in January, February, and March. It has decreased more than like around 10 to 15%. So that has badly affected industrials. Similarly, for other countries also, the sector got affected. Other example also, you can see it, the car sales. So you can see it during the January, February, and March 2020. It has decreased 48% the car sale. So now again, they started selling online and they started recovering, but still it was a great loss. And similarly, in other countries also, the sales of the vehicles and other things got decreased. Then I will come on power systems. So how it has changed. So here you can see it. There are different. So here you can see it for different countries. USA, Spain, and Italy is mostly European. So how it has the electricity mix has changed. So as you know that during this COVID period, so most of the people stayed in home. So residential consumption has increased, and industrial and transportation got decreased in most of the countries. So this is the current energy mix for European countries. You can see it. So, as I've already mentioned, that residential has increased. So it is less observed in Italy, but other it was more. Then commercial has commercial and industrial, everything has decreased. Then also give some of the figures, like in Italy, 10 to 12% peak demand has decreased. In Spain, 15% of peak demand has decreased. United States, 3 to 7% has decreased. So here you can see it in Italy, like during the lockdown, so first 3 weeks, the comparison from like what was the in last year 2019 and 2020. So you can see it in green color, it has decreased, very much decreased from last year 2019. It was more, and load demand has decreased this year. So that is around 6 to 10% in weekdays and 18 to 20% in weekdays. So this much decrease is there in Italy. So So here you can see like first days how it has decreased into 14%. Then, as I already mentioned, during weekends it is less affecting, but weekdays more. Similarly, you can see it for Spain how the load demand has decreased. So this data shows during the lockdown. So again, in comparison, you can see this is 2019, which is in black color, and here you can see 2020. So it has decreased drastically. So around 15% has dropped in this. Uh, so here you can see it first week it has decreased up to 15%. Then it is again 9% decrease during second week. So same trend has followed after this period also. Similarly for USA also, you can see the comparison of different years. Here I am showing 2019 and 20 data. So 20 you can see it here. So 20 is less. So if you compare for any average for January, February, March, or April, any month. So this year for 2020, the average daily load demand was less than of previous year. So for Australia also, it will compare the 2 years data, last year 2019 and 2020. It will take the average for any February month, March month, or April month. It is very less. You can see it in green color. It is for 2020. It is less. Then again, monthly energy demand. You can see it is. It has decreased and around 7.1%, and during March and April around 5.65%. Then peak load variation also, you can see here comparison of 2019 and 20, again like February month, March month, and April month. So peak load has decreased 3, 6.7, and 5.2% respectively. Then daily demand has, again daily demand also you can see it residential. So here you can see it on observation, like residential, it is in yellow color. It has increased very much because people are staying at home during daytime from it. And if you'll see the large businesses or small medium enterprises, it has decreased since they are not operational mostly. So for similarly for Bangladesh also, if you see the comparison of 2 years, last 2019 and 20, so it has decreased again. Then for Indians scenario also, you can see the market clearing price. So once the lockdown started, so it started. So the Janata Curfew came on 22 March, and after that, when it started from 25 March, so you can see the decrement in the market clearing price. Other countries, similarly for UK, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Belgium, Netherlands, or Portugal, you can see it. Electricity demand has declined around 5 to 15%. Uh, so that is again for European countries, USA, and Asian countries as well, India, Singapore, Australia, or China. Again, it has decreased. So you can see it here more energy demand reduction in India, which is like around 26%. It is having more change in comparison to other countries. Then energy cost. So energy cost has decreased. You can see it for different countries here, whether it is Belgium, France, or Spain, any country, the energy cost has decreased. Then some of the observations, like what happened in different countries, its impact and government responses. So you can see it as some of the observations, like Spain, power demand that decreased 3 to 20%. Belgium, again the industrial commercial load demand decreased by 70%. For other countries also similarly, Netherlands, Portugal, Singapore, China, everywhere the consumption has decreased. I will not go much details. So it is same trend for all the countries. It is little bit higher or lower, but everyone having same impact. Then then some of the scenarios, like I've already mentioned, like commercial low demand has decreased, residential has increased. Industrial has decreased, but not very significant. And as I have already mentioned, the energy demand price has also decreased, which I have shown in one of the graph. So here Indian scenario where the power grids and this dispatch centers, dispatch centers are there. So we just mark there. So India, as you know, that the lockdown phases. So since the WHO has declared the pandemic, after that, government of India has announced several rules. They have for different phases, like from phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have different set of rules for operation of like to different guidelines were issued, and that has affected the lifestyle as well as our power and energy demand patterns. So here you can see the comparison for India. So how the consumption has decreased. So you can see it from March to May. So top one shows the 2019 last year's energy consumption, and this one shows this year energy consumption. So it has when the lockdown started, it has decreased drastically. Then regional demand energy consumption, that also you can see it for different regions. Like India, they have different northern region, southern region, eastern, western. So for all regions, energy consumption has decreased. So here I'm showing the comparison for different regions in different colors. One is for 2019, other is for 2020. Again, western region 2019 data, 20 data. So all comparisons are here. Then here you can see it as in last diagram I have shown. You can the decrement here again you can see it clearly. The load demand has decreased very much. Then generation scheduling also. So here again you can see it how it is decreasing. So this again March data, you can see it after 22 or 23 March, how it has drastically has decreased the generation for all the, whether it is coal, lignite, hydro, or nuclear, or electricity based. So everything generation from all the sources was like decreased because the load has because our demand has decreased. That's why generation was also kept it at low. And frequency profile, you can see the frequency how it has varied since the loads are changing. So that's why because of change, the frequency has also got affected, and it was very challenging for the power grid companies to maintain it at a different level, at a required level. So this was the inter-regional transaction. So the how the transmission of power has happened from one like region, like different regions I have shown: northern, eastern, southern, west. So from one region to other region, how it has happened. So then I will talk about light off events. As you know that the light off events happened on 5th April when the Prime Minister has announced uh, to has requested to switch off the light in so that so you can see the variations, how much variation has happened. So during the light off events around 9 o'clock, so it has went very less. At 9:10 it was minimum. So you can see the figure where, so it went up to 85,799 megawatt at 9:10 that day. But again within 1 hour it has reached up to 1 lakh 14,400 megawatts. So this much change in the power. So it was very challenging for the power grid companies to manage it. To Since this light of event has happened within few minutes, so this much load change, it was very difficult to manage. Is load the generation side, then load side. So for that they have done some precautionary measures which I'll be showing, and also they were able to successfully achieve, and they were able to maintain the frequency range. Frequency range has only changed from 50.26 to 49.70. So that was a great achievement. uh, they were able to successfully handle this event. So for that, POSOCO has given some guidelines how to handle this event. So for that, you can see it here. This much reduction has happened in the demand. So to maintain this, how they have achieved, they have reduced how where they have decreased this much thermal, and then gas by this amount, then wind generation they have reduced to 2.7 during this interval 8 to 8:40 and 9:10 where the light of event was happening. So they have decreased this, and they have, so similarly uh, they have uh, done other arrangement also to maintain the power quality and frequency things. So you can see they have used various things uh, to control the power quality during that period. So I'm not going on to that details. Just the then I'll just talk about the socio-economic challenges. What are the challenges? So as I have shown, like the stock market has decreased and also credit decreases. Economic loss is happening in all the sectors. The electricity bill is reducing, so that is a loss for the power companies. Then you can see it delay in manufacturing and installing of renewable energy projects also, because the companies industries are not in operations. Manufacturing also units are not in operation, and also since field works are not happening, so that's why installation of the new projects are getting hampered because of this. And uh, this is the major effect in terms of like economic loss. So here I'm just showing the forecast how much it is. So here you can see it 2020 for different domestic, commercial, industrial, or agriculture. So what is the forecast? So 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 uh, electricity consumption, you can see in forecast it has decreased for all the things. Here you can see the comparison. So this was the earlier forecast, and on what is the actual actually is very less. So it is less than the forecasted value because of COVID. Uh, Here you can see the change in prices. So electricity tariff has changed. So there was economic loss to the companies. Then some of the challenges which has faced the power companies, which has faced the technical challenges to tackle this much load and power variations. So one is voltage control measures. Uh, then this interruption of power connections, then fuel availability. So fuel availability is also a challenge because transportation is also affected, so they are not unable to like move one fuel from one location to other location. So there is a scarcity of fuel, but slowly now things are resuming, so they will be able to tackle this in coming months. So here I am showing how the voltage control measures they were able to do it. So the one thing was there to retain the constant voltage at the power stations, to maintain the stable distribution of reactive power throughout the network. To They have to also manage the over voltage, and also to maintain the grid stability. So for that they have used different things. So here I am showing the precautionary measures which the power companies has taken to handle this situation. So they have used static compensators and static VR compensators to keep the voltage control. Then capacitor banks to uh, to prevent the over voltage at consumer points. Then they used thermal generators to absorb reactive power during the high voltage condition. Then they used solar generating stations. They used with STATCOM devices. Then also they used capacitor banks with wind generators to inject the reactive power to the system to maintain the grid stability. So these are the precautionary measures which the professor has given the guidelines, and power authorities and power companies has followed it to maintain it, to tackle the situation. So here I am showing the voltage current control measures comparison for February and March months. So here you can see it for both the months, February and March. The deviation was up to around 15% at different locations. Then, uh, then what are the recommendations after the COVID? So as we have already crossed the pre-COVID situation and COVID, now it's going. So what are the post-COVID recommendations? Uh, so we have to see the load management and also like work on national fuel security as you have seen the both like crude oils there. So one is their prices decreasing, transportation because of COVID they are not able to transport from like one place to other place. The countries will not be able to like buy or like to import or export the oils or gases. So again, so all the countries has to use it in a like minimal way, and what are the resources available with them. So that precaution they have to take it, and they have to make a concrete national fuel supply chain management and policies. Is then they have to work on work on renewable energy projects. Also they have to use it more renewable energy projects so that they can use it in a distribute, so that they can use it as a consumer point. And also they have to revise the energy tariff plan also, because if they keep the prices of electricity less, then the consumers will be happy to take more to consume more electricity. But same times they have to see the concern of company the companies which are supplying this electricity also. They have to make a balance between both, and also they have to make a stable grid. That is a major thing, because if this many changes are happening, then grids are at risk, and they have to always like to take care of the grid. So if they can inject more renewable energy powers, then power quality issues will be there. And also since the load pattern is continuously changing, so they have to give more attention to take the grid at a stable conditions all the time. So here I have listed some of the issues which needs to be looked at now. So, and some of the recommendations for future I have already mentioned. Since now the relaxation is happening and most of the industries are coming to again function slowly, then gradual increase in load is happening. Then again they have to see it from all the perspectives. Like they should increase the slowly the generation part also to match the demand again, since it is increasing. Then, as I already talked, the fuel security problem. So all the countries has to work on it, make a concrete plan so that they should have the backup of the things if they are unable to transport the fuels from one location to another. Then how they can use it, the available resources in a optimal way. Then support for renewable energy sectors. So one thing has came like due to decrease in oil and gas prices. Since it has decreased, then again people have started using more, have tendency to use more this conventional energy sources. But that will not be a good sign and not be good for the for our environmental aspects, like to tackling global warming or to fulfill the energy demand for future. So again, the government should not decrease the subsidies and other things for the renewable energy sectors. as the oils are available in less price, they have to still support and maintain the same subsidy which they were giving before COVID-19. They should still give the same incentives and fundings for the renewable energy projects. Still, they have to give it. Then they have to use it, as I've already mentioned, this at local level solar based or wind based or biogas technologies, which the consumers can use it at their home, and they can easily fulfill their energy demands, even if there is a scarcity of electricity. If it is not available at the grid level, they can use it the renewable energy sources at the distributed generation, and they can fulfill their demands. Then I have already mentioned like microgrids. So the microgrids are very important and very crucial to maintain it in this situation. So that's all from my side for today's talk. So thank you everyone for patient hearing. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take.
If you have a question, you may ask question. Anybody want to ask question?
Okay, I think we don't have any questions. So I can just say that you stay connected. We will be again coming back with like talk on other topics, so that you will get the information and the group. So we'll be giving you the updates. So thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir, for giving a good lecture on the topic. And thank you, participants,